Just a housekeeping note. I noticed after Mass had begun, people coming in after Lisa stood up and made announcements, began singing. There's people coming. I can see you. And I want to encourage you to come before 5:30, before Lisa begins, just settle in. And first of all, to take advantage of the great seats up front. You have extra leg room up front, right? How do you like that? Isn't that nice? And the Wi-Fi, it's nice, isn't it? But even more, I don't do this enough myself, but to come and sit in the chapel 15, 20, 25 minutes before Mass, and just to say your prayers and spend some time with the Lord, it makes all the difference. Instead of just rushing in from the parking lot and one more thing you got to do and get to Mass, and you're missing out. I want you to know the Lord's peace and to do that favor for yourself. And it is distracting to your neighbors when you're coming in, and it doesn't do them any favors either. So please, take these 2 hours to prepare, to come, spend this time in worship once a week, and to make all the difference in your week. Can you do that? Say yes, Father. Yes. Amen. Thank you. Okay. So last weekend I was away. I was at a convocation. It's called Convocation of Catholic Leaders, but it's held right here in Orlando. But it's a 4-day convocation, and it was people from all over the country came. It was our bishops, about 200 bishops were there, cardinals, even the ambassador from the Vatican, the papal nuncio, was there the whole 4 days. It was a big deal. There were hundreds of priests from Seattle and San Bernardino and Camden, all over the country, deacons, and thousands of lay people leading organizations and movements, Catholic groups in the country, exhibitors, all gathered right here in Orlando for a once-in-a-lifetime, really historic convocation. And the theme of the convocation was bringing the joy of the gospel to America. This is about bringing that joy of the gospel to America. And I was exhausted. You know how these conventions and convocations go. Something, morning, noon, night, stuff's going on. There's no time to sit around the lazy river or anything. No, it's go, go, go. And I was exhausted. The masses were beautiful, beautiful liturgies, the cardinal presiding and preaching, and beautiful music, musicians singing. But the music was very loud and, very full. And I had to wear earplugs to Mass, okay? Because that's, I'm an introvert, and too much stimulation, is over the top for me. They had stage lights because it's all broadcast on EWTN and streamed, and it's on Yahoo and YouTube and all that. So there's stage lights. No matter where I sat, those lights were in my eyes, and that was distracting to me. So I should have worn my sunglasses too. That looked funny. But so that helped exhaust me. My mother, I had to take a nap during the day. I had to skip a breakout session, go a nap. But my mom and dad, they came and they volunteered. They live here in Maitland, and they actually volunteered for a couple days, just helping people out. And one evening, Matt Maher did a concert, a praise and worship concert, and my mom went to this. 79 years old, my mom went to this, and I went to bed. Okay, I was exhausted. Yet at the same time, I was refreshed. I felt strengthened and at peace. And I was refreshed. And I really can't tell you it was this thing or that thing that did it. I mean, be surrounded by very holy people. People who dedicate their lives to the Lord is very inspiring. Beautiful witnesses to hear, and time for prayer, and that's all good. It's no particular one thing. But it's perhaps just the whole message of the convocation. We weren't there to talk about the problems of the world, and they are grave, serious problems in our world and challenges, or to even talk about the problems in the church, and they are grave problems in the church. No, we weren't doing that. We weren't talking about what we need to do. We need to try harder, try, and go. Instead, it was about what God has done and is doing for the world through Jesus Christ. That's the joy of the gospel that we bring to the world. And I found that so refreshing. So refreshing. In the gospel today, Jesus said, "Come to me." He makes an invitation. Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest. All you who are exhausted and running, come to me, and I will give you rest. In our culture, Monday morning you wake up, tomorrow morning you're going to wake up and grab a cup of coffee, and you're out the door, you're late, you got to drive, you got to get there, and you got to hit the ground running. And it's that way every day, to the shopping or the kids or the doctor's office, and it's go, go, go. And then on the weekend, you collapse. Just collapse. And then Monday, start all over again. Summertime's a little different, maybe a little slower pace, and summertime you go away to collapse. And then you come back and you get punished for going away. There's so much work to do. But that's not what Jesus says. Jesus doesn't say, go away to get rest. No. He says, come to me. Come to me. In the first reading from Zechariah, we heard who he is. He comes, not in grandeur and power and glory into his people, but he comes riding a donkey. How humble can you get? He is humble of heart and meek, he says. And he comes to suffer and die for us. God Most High became most low, crucified on the cross, humbly, to die for us, that we may live. Come to me. Come to know me, not just know about me, come to know me, my great love for you, and come to know through me the Father. And you will find rest. It's not what you know, the wisdom, the learning, that's all good and fine, but it's who you know. Come to me, to know me and God the Father. And I will give you rest. Again, our culture, we see rest as a break from work. It's something you do apart from work so you can go back to work refreshed a little bit and not completely exhausted. But that's not the rest he's talking about. Taking a break so you can go back to whatever you're busy with. No. Christ says, come to me so I will give you rest. It's like an oasis. Traveling in the desert, the hot sand, the hot sun, thirsty, tired. And then an oasis, you have shade, you're safe, you have clean water, cool water to slake your thirst, to nourish yourself, to eat and rest. An oasis. In the midst of our trials and tribulation, there are many, and our challenges and struggles and crosses, there are many. But even in the midst of those things, not taking them away, in the midst of all that, Christ says, come to me, and I will give you rest. You will find rest for yourselves. And the key word here is give. I will give you rest. It's a gift. It's not something we can earn, not something we can deserve, not can do this, and like everything else, and we get it. No. It's a gift from Christ. It's a gift. It's free for us. It's not cheap. It cost him his everything. It's not cheap, but it's free. His grace, his gift of himself. And all we have to do is accept it and say thank you. When the invitation, come to me, and I will give you rest. So for those of you seeking rest and refreshment, for those of you already rested and refreshment, this is not for you. But for those of you seeking rest and refreshment, something's missing in your life, listen up. Back in January, we had a retreat for our parish staff and our pastoral council members. And for the parish staff, it was a command performance. I said they gotta go. It's mandatory to be there. And so guess what? They showed up like this. You're like, Father, I'm really busy. We got a lot of things we got to do, and I really don't want to be here. And so it's a few crossed arms sort of right there. And it's a Friday and a Saturday. I know I'm getting paid to be here, but still I got things to do. So that was how people came. We brought in a speaker, Kristen Bird from Wisconsin. She gave a beautiful presentation. She gives time for prayer, for conversation, a little bit of walking and all. It was just a wonderful time. So much so that come Saturday afternoon, within 36 hours, they didn't want to leave. Those arms were uncrossed. They were saying, I wish my husband was here. I wish my wife was here. They needed to hear this. They needed to hear this. So the good news, we're bringing Kristen Bird back, not just for the parish council or pastoral staff, but for all the parish, for all of you. We're bringing her back next month for a parish mission. And this parish mission is for you. It's for you, seeking rest and refreshment. It's also for those who come to Mass week after week and think there's got to be something more. I'm doing this, but I'm not sure why. It's for you. It's for those. It's for those who may feel guilty, but you're not a good Catholic and not sure if you should be here because you don't pray enough, you don't give to the church regularly or a percentage of your income, you don't necessarily know what the church teaches. You're not sure if you're a good Catholic. You're not sure if you belong here. You're not sure what you believe. Can you really have a relationship with God? So yes, it's for all those people, but especially for those of you seeking rest, who are exhausted and labored and burdened. It's an invitation from Christ himself. Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest. Now, in a little bit, you'll do exactly that. You come forward and receive communion. Every time we gather here, that's why Mass is so important. Every time we gather, every Sunday here, you come to the Lord. You take up his invitation. You come to him, you receive him, body and blood, so that you are one with him. Not just spiritual and prayerful and kind of a peace, but physically one with him, body and blood. So that he is in you and you are in him, having that union with Christ as he has with the Father, because there is our rest. And today, after receiving the body and blood of Christ in communion, we turn to places, we sing that communion song, joining our voices in one, and then there's quiet. There's a moment or two of silence. And take that time. First of all, thank the Lord. Thank the Lord for the gift of himself. And then ask the Lord for your heart's desire. And ask the Lord to get you to that parish mission next month. Just put it out there. Lord, Father David said so ask me to get me to that parish mission. Amen. That moment of silence. And then do your part. When you go home, take the bulletin, get out your calendar, and save the date. Put it all in the Lord's hands. He'll take care of it. His hands are opened. Invitation. Come to me, he says. Come to me, all who labor and are burdened. I will give you rest.